And so it's come to this moment at long last. This is part 6 of 7 of the brand new just released Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Legacy Thunder Megazord review miniseries. That said though, before we can get the Thunder Megazord, which is the main feature of this review, we still have to talk about the attack mode, which is none other than the Thunderzord Assault Team is what it's called, if I'm not mistaken. Which is pretty much the use of this sled here, even though it's really no use. The shit's about to hit the fan, people, in all honesty. While this thing here, this sled is really nicely detailed. It's got that nice high gloss plastic, very sturdy, very strong. Doesn't look like it's gonna break anytime soon. There is a major inconvenience about this thing, and the fact is, in all honesty, the Zords do not work with it. It is designed for the Thunder Zords, but the problem is the Thunder Zords don't clip in anywhere on this thing. It is just held in by friction. All the Zords are held onto this thing by just a little bit of a grip. But when you go to move them around, or if you try to pick this thing up, you run the risk of dropping your Zords on the floor. Something's going to break if this does drop. I will tell you that already. And chances are, it will be probably one of the arms of the Red Dragon Thunder Zord. I'm sorry to say it. But, here we go. It's time to get this over with. As you can see, there's these two holes right here, and there's this square peg here, and these two pegs in the center. And that is supposedly where it's supposed to tab in. And it's supposed to tab in. The problem is, it doesn't really tab in. It's just there, in all honesty. It just doesn't do anything. I don't like this thing. This thing has really pissed me off pretty damn badly. Well, okay, no, damn it. You see what I'm talking about? They're just there. They just sit on it. There's hardly, I'm not going to run the risk of this, so I'm only going to go about this high. But as you can see, it's on there. But it's wobbling. You can't really see it that well from how far the camera is, but it's wobbling. I'm telling you, this is a mess. I'll take the Griffin and go ahead and slide it on its side, and then there's these tabs that it supposedly tabs into, but it doesn't. Same goes for Unicorn. Slide it on and then tab it into place. And, you know, when it says tabs, you think the tabs would be on there pretty sturdy, very tight for these things. Look at that. I just took the Griffin off very easily. These two holes right here and these two tabs right here do not fit. Now, the Firebird, on the other hand, it's pretty nicely secured on this set. It clips in like so, and it's not going anywhere unless you really apply. Let's take Red Dragon Thunder Zord, split the legs a little bit so we can get them in the foot holes on the sled, and bada bing, bada boom, there we go. We're done with the Thunder Zord Assault Team, and got Thunder Zord Assault Team all set up and ready to stomp on evil space aliens one at a time. This thing is a piece of shit. This really pisses me off. This is probably the one thing out of this whole entire review that is literally not a con, but really just all out pathetic. I mean, this is a terrible layout that's going on here. It looks good. Do not get me wrong about that. It's definitely show accurate. It hits both the balances of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and Dire Ranger very easily. But the problem is, it just absolutely sucks. The execution is flawed, and I just realized I forgot to put the lion's tail back on, so it can fit in there. You know, since it just comes off very easily, let me just go ahead and readjust that for you. There you go. Thunder Zord Assault Team is a terrible execution on this set. For $200, this is really the best that Bandai of America could have done with this combination. Again, it looks fantastic, but the execution of these Zords tabbing in all over the place is a letdown. They don't tab in anywhere. They don't hold their position. If you go to move it, it's going to fall apart and probably break very easily. Now, if you're just leaving it for display, which is pretty much the adult collector value of these things, like if you put it on a turntable, you got no problem. I mean, it will turn just fine and the Zords will stay in place. But if you go to move this sled, which I'm going to try. Oh yeah, that's That's pretty heavy, and that piece on the back with the Firebird feels like it wants to break. I'm not going to do it. But yeah, you see the problem. It is a mess. You're driving without your seatbelt. You're just moving all over the place. And if you run into something, you're going to go flying out the window. That's exactly what's going on here. That is a fine example of what this piece of shit really is. It's terrible, it sucks, and I definitely don't recommend this mode. Alright, so with that colossal mess out of the way, it's time to get to the main attraction and the reason why you're watching this video anyway. Because if I hold it off any longer, you're probably going to unsubscribe from my channel, aren't you? That said, it's time to get into it. We need Thunder Megazord power now! Ladies and gentlemen, we have Thunder Megazord, Legacy Thunder Megazord, in its complete robot mode. This is an amazing work of art. Throwing aside the fact that the sled, the Thunder Zord assault team, was terrible, this execution here is spectacular and is absolutely perfect. I mean, it does have some minor inconveniences. We'll get to it in just a moment, but from what you're seeing here, this doesn't get any better. This is a really, really nice piece of work. I mean, this thing took 2 years. Everything about this just screams accuracy. I mean, we got the Dire Ranger Zord, we've got Mighty Morphin here. It's just, it looks pretty damn good, in all honesty. And there's not much going to happen in terms of articulation, but you do get the additional point of a swivel head. Thank you very much to Red Dragon Thunder Zord. I really do appreciate that. You can get it to turn a full 360 if you so choose, see? So don't worry about it. Nothing is actually catching on the neckline of the head, so you don't have to worry about getting any of this nice gold paint scuffed up. Rotation, as usual for most Megazords out there, is just simple enough. That's all you're really going to get out of all this. But you do also have wrist rotation. I'll try to show it on this side since my hand's in the way. Wrist rotation, and the hands do open and close back. And that's really it for articulation. Everything else is just filler. I mean, by filler, I'm saying it's just there to make the thing look better. There is no articulation down below the waist. There's nothing going on in the legs and nothing going on here. There's no waist rotation or anything like that. But you can maneuver the legs around to get a better stance out of the Megazord, and sometimes I have to push it back because it is top heavy, split out, but when you go to lift this thing up, they reset. So, you know, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, all you gotta do is just simply split them again and maybe push that back just a little bit more so it'll stand straight. But in all honesty, that's pretty much where the fun on this thing comes to an end. It does look good. And I mean, I really do appreciate all this effort that Bandai of America put into this thing, but when it's all said and done at the very end, there's nothing else to really talk about on this Megazord without bringing out some heavy problems on this thing, and I mean heavy problems. So let's go ahead and assemble this nice staff piece here that it did use maybe one time in the show, if I'm not mistaken. It's just held in like this, and it's kind of loose, but you know, it does actually hold a lot better than the original 1994 Megazord, so that does look a lot better. But that said, here's where the real problem begins because of the die cast that's going on here, and how the weapon's got some heft to it as well. Check out what's going on with Thunder Megazord. Thunder Megazord cannot stand straight. And you push back a little bit, yeah, then it will stand straight. Or, you know, it will stand to a certain scale. It will actually look forward. But when you move the weapons out, and this is also going to go with the sword in just a moment, I will show that off. It's just leaning forward. And it's all because of the legs of Red Dragon Thunderzord. Because to how they got that individual ball joint movement that doesn't keep its pose, it is flimsy as hell down there. You can see the legs are wobbling. And that's what causes the wobble to the actual armor bits of the legs. You know, we got Griffin and Unicorn just moving around free. Major pros to it, but it's also got those problems. If these start to give, those Red Dragon's legs underneath, if they start to give soon enough, this is going to fall over very easily. So I wouldn't put it on any high shelves just yet until you can figure out another solution to this, because apparently this is something that Bandai of America just neglected to look at. It definitely needed another look. So that being said, the only other thing to show off is pretty much the sword and its scabbard, which is nice. The Thunder Saber has some nice details on its scabbard, and the sword itself, beautiful work here, very beautiful. As a matter of fact, when you pull it out, if it's scabbard, you don't have to run the risk of chipping any of this nice chrome. It has got a lot of clearance in there, so that's some good points there. Look how this shines in the light. I'm loving that. Yeah, this is all chrome here. The blade is chrome, the hilt, the handle, it's all painted, so you know, it really works. It looks phenomenal. And just like the staff, it fits in there a little loose, but it's not as bad as the 1994 Thunder Megazord, because that thing couldn't hold its weapons for shit. And man, just fucking giggles all around. That's what it was. It was a serious joke. And for the scabbard, it's got these two tabs right here that are going to peg into this side over here on the wings of the Firebird. And there you go. Now it is perfect. It's absolutely perfect. It's got its problems, but problems aside, Thunder Megazord is ready to battle Goldar and any other kind of evil space alien that is about its size. So that is some nice stuff going on here. And the fact that they added the additional chain to the scabbard really makes this the final rendition of, you know, Dire Ranger's Megazord and the Thunder Megazord. And the reason why I keep saying Dire Ranger Megazord is because I don't even know what it's called. I grew up watching Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I've grown up watching Power Rangers, and you know, no disrespect to Super Sentai fans, but when it's all said and done, it's Power Rangers for me. So, you know what? The only other thing to do now is to just show off a quick size comparisons with the Tigerzord, because in the next video, the final part of this whole entire review mini-series, we're going to be taking this bad boy and these additional Zords here, minus the Red Dragon Thunderzord, and we're going to create the Mega Tigerzord. So that's going to do it, guys. Questions, comments, you know what to do. Leave it down below in the comment section. So if you like this video, hit the thumbs up. If you didn't like it, hit the thumbs down. If you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel for more video reviews, just like the one you're viewing today from yours truly. And this is the one and only Sonic Ranger signing out. Thanks for watching, and I will see you whenever you see me.